I just think there's a lot of negativity and on our side, and I don't know how to combat that. And I feel like anytime you try to, which I saw a few instances of, people get very mad at you whenever you even take just a even position on something.
Oh, I can't get too mad at them. There's a million things people are upset about day in and day out on the left, and I can understand people lashing out a little bit when it feels like they're already narrow range of possible acceptable paths forward are narrowed even further. It's just a matter of hope. A lot of people on the left just feel kind of hopeless, you know? That's what I think the overemphasization of electoral politics does. Even edgy doomer bros like Chapo, the way they behaved after the Bernie primary, after he lost, like, was very disappointing to me, you know? Because people on the left, especially like the edgy, disaffected ones, are all supposed to be, you know, electoralism is only one part of the process. It's actually a broader fight that we're making, you know? Even if Bernie won, that wouldn't fix everything, lib. But they got, like, super doomer over it, and they've not really stopped in terms of the tone of their show. So, is that just how we all are, like, forever? Are we just, like, doomed to constantly get upset over this stuff? I don't know.
Well, I think it just weakens the movement, and then more moderates take over and rise up. You know, that's how they destroyed defund the police. That whole thing they killed that. Are you optimistic for the future?
Yeah, I think I am in some ways. Even though the left doesn't really have a leader to unite it, there are some basic positions people on the left hold that are growing more popular with time, which I am very happy about. For example, general criticism of capitalism is at an all-time high since the Great Depression. It was exacerbated severely by COVID, and it feels like the right leader or the right message could make a lot out of that. With regards to progressive issues, like trans acceptance or whatever, that is more popular now and here than pretty much ever. So that's nice. I mean, there are things to look forward to, potentially. It's just gonna be a matter of appropriately channeling whatever social interest we can use to act on them, you know?
Yeah, I like that. I like that you're pointing out some positive stuff, specifically with trans issues. I do think there's a lot of progress being made right there. And I agree, the pandemic showed some huge holes and opened up a lot of people's eyes to what's going on. And I'm pretty optimistic myself. Are you still supportive of Joe Biden? How do you feel about good old Joe now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's whether or not I'm supportive of him. I mean, he was better than Trump, and that was the only choice I was given. So I'm always supportive of him with regards to that contrast, and there's not really much else to talk about. In terms of how well he's done, he got a bunch of easy W's by using executive orders to undo the objectively stupid shit that Trump did with his executive orders, so that's nice. There's some stuff that he could definitely, like, improve on, even within the narrow range of accepted liberal politics. Like, the immigration stuff is super disappointing. Him fighting in federal court to, like, preserve the, was it Title 42? Fuck, the pretense that they're using to, like, deport a bunch of refugees without hearings. That's pretty disappointing. I feel like his language is what bothers me most, because I know you can't do that much without congressional support. And I want him to be this fiery orator who, like, preaches the things that he claims to believe in. When was the last time he talked about the public option, you know? And with regards to infrastructure, when was the last time he was able to give any affirmation of its necessity outside of a banal push for existing policy? We don't need, you know, politicians, we need orators. We need people who can convince the American people with such resolute certainty that their positions are needed, that they'll vote left next election. I don't know if Joe Biden's charismatic to pull that out. He never really was big on charisma, at least not since, like, the end of Obama's terms. So, if nothing else, I mean, he could be a lot worse. That's my big positive at the end of all that.
Yeah, I didn't vote for him for his speeches, and I do wish that he was better at them for sure. But what I always told people was vote for his Twitter. Go look at his Twitter. His Twitter's pretty on point. I don't know if it could be much better. He doesn't mean much over there, but it's definitely not him running it. I guarantee he doesn't even have the password to log into it, but his Twitter's pretty clean. And I feel like that's what matters.
Bernie's feel fairly similar, you know?
Yeah.
Because they both have like that professional, you know what I mean? Bernie will do this like the working class are tired of X and Y, but beyond that, when it comes to like general affirmations of relatively progressive positions, it feels like you
Yeah.
could go to Bernie or Joe's and it'll be roughly the same.
Well, I think Biden might surprise us. I hope so, because after infrastructure, which is what he wanted to go for first, for this, this old college effort at bipartisanship to try to bring down the temperature in our country a bit, and I think he did succeed to some degree. We'll see if these things pass. I think they will, because we may lose the House next year, and I think progressives are aware of that too. And even if we just get $1 trillion from infrastructure, $1 trillion better than $0 trillion. So I think it's going to happen, and hopefully that brings temperature down. Then he can move on to some of the other stuff like voting rights. And I think he's taken a pretty strong position on that, with even throwing a bone to Joe Manchin. Immigration, I mean, on day one, he said he'd like to see a path to citizenship for dreamers and, ultimately everybody here. Obviously, that's just talk, and we got to see what he does. But I'm curious to see what he does next year. Also, I'll say that the Republicans are throwing us a bone with this abortion stuff. I mean, nobody's talking about the bungled
That
Afghanistan
is
withdrawal anymore.
fucking true. Nothing is going to get independents more fired up and not letting Republicans win in their states than seeing this shit they're doing in like Texas and Florida, dude. Oh my god. It's I mean, I hope so. It feels like sometimes the Republicans get away with so much bad shit, but like, yeah, what they're doing in Texas right now, and they can't help themselves. In a way, I'm actually reminded of like Lauren Southern's YouTube comments back in the day, back when she was doing like alt-right shit, more apparently at least, because she would dog whistle, but the people in the comment section wouldn't. She would be like, we need to defend our heritage, and people in the comment section would be like, yeah, fuck Jews. So likewise, like the Republicans talk a big game, but they're all insane fucking ideologues. So they can't help themselves. They're gonna keep doing like electorally damaging stuff if they're given the rope to hang themselves with,
Oh, I don't think they thought for a second that law was going to go into effect. And then they have this law now where no exception for rape or incest. I mean, this thing's a nightmare. And even Florida's saying we want some of that now too, introducing their own version. I think they're just going to hand us a gift here. And I think the Supreme Court is going to as well, when they rule on that Mississippi 15-week ban that's coming up next year. They're going to hear arguments this year. So
we'll see. My faith in the Supreme Court is not at an all-time high right now. I'll say that much.
Well, I think they're going to rule in favor of Mississippi and allow the 15-week ban to go into effect. And that would all come down in the summer, right before the midterm. So I'm almost not even worried what we do, as long as we don't screw things up too much, because like you said, so many people are going to be galvanized by the Republican Party's moves over the next year or so.
I hope so. That would be nice, Because I feel like I can understand why a person would choose to be a liberal over being a socialist. I don't agree with the reasons, but I understand the basic rationale, the different priorities, the ideological shift. There is no reason born out of self-interest to be a Republican, flat out. The most you can get maybe is like low taxes if you're rich, but unless you're in the top 1%, like voting Republican is as close to an objectively bad idea as you can get. So I hope we can move away from that, The more people get pushed away from that, the better.
I agree.